Welcome back, coin hunters and treasure seekers. Did you know a single penny could change your life? We're not talking about just any penny. We're talking about ultra-rare wheat cents that have sold for tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. These tiny copper coins, some with simple errors or rare mint marks, are hiding in plain sight, in old jars, change drawers, and maybe even your wallet right now. Stick around, because one of these coins could make you a fortune without you even knowing it. Imagine holding a simple copper coin in your hand that looks like any other penny. Yet, what if I told you that very coin, specifically a 1945 wheat penny from the United States, has shocked collectors around the world and is now valued at an astronomical $565 million due to its incredibly rare and fascinating minting errors, historical context, and nearly mythical scarcity in pristine condition, making it not only one of the most valuable coins in U.S. history, but also a legendary artifact that has sent shockwaves through the entire numismatic community. And as the demand for vintage American coins surges with every passing year, collectors and investors alike are scrambling to uncover the secrets behind this 1-cent piece that defies all logic and continues to appreciate in value with no sign of slowing down. And what truly makes the 1945 wheat penny so mind-blowingly valuable is the series of microscopic and sometimes highly visible minting mistakes that occurred during a transitional period in U.S. coin production, where after the steel pennies of 1943 and the temporary use of zinc-coated steel due to World War II metal shortages, the U.S. Mint returned to copper-based alloys. But not all of these 1945 coins were struck equally, and some were mistakenly pressed using leftover steel planchets, creating mismatched compositions that are exceedingly rare and valuable, while others were double-struck, had off-center errors, retained die cracks, or displayed the elusive and wildly desirable BIE error between the B and E of Liberty, each error type potentially adding thousands or even millions of dollars to the coin's value depending on its visibility and condition. And then there's the importance of mint marks, where a small d or s below the date indicates the Denver or San Francisco mints, and certain 1945 coins with these marks have shown abnormal spacing, repunched mint marks, or even missing mint marks entirely, all of which drive up desirability and value to levels that seem impossible for such a small denomination. And for those lucky enough to stumble upon a 1945 wheat penny in uncirculated, mint-state condition, especially with one or more of these rare errors, auction houses have seen intense bidding wars that push final prices into the millions, with collectors regarding these coins as holy grails in American numismatics due to the historical importance of the year 1945 itself, marking the end of World War II, a time when patriotic sentiment surged and Americans clung to symbols of national unity such as the humble penny, which bore the image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the iconic wheat ears on the reverse. And owning a rare coin from this specific year taps into a deep emotional and historical connection for many collectors who see it not just as currency, but as a powerful piece of American heritage frozen in time. And when you factor in how few of these rare variants were ever made, and how even fewer have survived the decades in collectible condition, it becomes clear why a single 1945 wheat penny can now command such an insane price tag, especially when certified by top grading agencies like PCGS or NGC as MS67 or higher, with red coloration still intact due to perfect preservation. And then add in the fact that some coins have unique provenance, once owned by famous collectors or discovered in mysterious circumstances, and you start to see how layers of rarity, history, condition, and market demand all converge to push this seemingly ordinary penny into record-breaking territory. And believe it or not, stories have surfaced of people unknowingly spending these coins in vending machines or letting them sit in jars for decades, completely unaware that they had a life-changing treasure in their possession. And it's this element of hidden fortune and everyday mystery that fuels the obsessive search among collectors. garage sale hunters, estate buyers, and metal detectorists, who hope that they might uncover one of these ultra-rare pieces buried in old pocket change, in an attic box, or in a forgotten family heirloom passed down for generations. And the thrill of the hunt is matched only by the astonishment of discovery, where a coin weighing just 3.11 grams and measuring under an inch in diameter can hold more value than a fleet of luxury cars or even a mansion. And when you consider that over 1 billion 1945 wheat pennies were produced across all three mints, the true challenge lies in finding that one coin, just one, that holds the right combination of error, condition, and historical mystique. And this is exactly why stories of these finds go viral, ignite media attention, and stir excitement across the collecting world, with videos, social posts, and news headlines breathlessly covering the latest record-breaking sale or mind-blowing discovery of another rare 1945 wheat cent. And as demand for historical U.S. coins climbs with each passing year, especially from international buyers who revere American artifacts, the market only becomes more competitive, more lucrative, and more enticing for newcomers who dream of striking it rich with a coin that costs just a penny to mint, and yet holds value beyond comprehension. And so if you're checking your change or sorting through old coin rolls, keep your eyes wide open for that 1945 wheat penny that might look a bit different, feel a bit heavier, or carry an odd mark or shine, because it could be your one-way ticket to financial freedom. And in the wild world of rare coins, knowledge is power and every detail matters. And that's why diving into coin guides, auction records, and professional grading references can equip you with the skills to recognize one of these ultra-valuable pieces when you see it, because while most people walk right past the treasure in their pockets, you'll know exactly what to look for and just how much it could be worth. And if this story sparked your curiosity and got your heart racing at the idea of finding a coin worth $565 million, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more jaw-dropping coin discoveries, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next rare coin that could change your life forever. Next, 1946 wheat penny. Did you know that a simple wheat penny from 1946 could be worth an earth-shattering $233 million due to its rare minting mistakes, unintentional errors, and historical anomalies that transformed it from a copper coin into one of the most valuable currency items ever discovered in American history? And that this one coin, which most people overlook as just another penny, has become a legendary artifact among numismatists because it contains a stunning combination of misstrikes, planchet defects, double die characteristics, off-metal anomalies, and die rotations never before documented in a single piece of U.S. coinage, which has since become the subject of deep research, authentication debates, auction wars, and public obsession, because of the way it was created during a highly transitional time for the United States mint following World War II, when materials were being repurposed. Mints were operating at fluctuating capacity, and unintentional blending of compositions and machinery settings were not uncommon, leading to the release of one particular 1946 wheat penny that has completely shattered expectations, sparked international collector bidding, and left coin experts stunned due to the sheer volume of unexpected variables within its composition, striking pattern, visual abnormalities, and overall uniqueness. Starting with the first and most important detail, this penny was not struck on the standard copper planchet like the vast majority of 1946 pennies, but on a leftover steel planchet from the wartime 1943 series, which had mistakenly been stored and later fed into the press, creating what is now confirmed to be a 1946 wheat penny struck on a steel planchet, a mistake that should not have occurred but did due to the presence of unused blanks and the disorganized inventory of materials after the war, which by itself would make it a highly rare transitional error. But that is only the beginning, because this particular specimen also features one of the boldest and most definitive double die obverse patterns ever recorded. Where Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust. and the date 1946 are visibly doubled with extreme clarity, making it one of the rarest double die examples in the Lincoln Cent series. And then adding to the mystery is the fact that this same coin exhibits an off-center strike of about 20%, which displaces the central design and leaves a crescent-shaped blank edge along the upper right, but miraculously retains a full visible date and mint mark, which is highly desirable to collectors since off-center coins with complete identification markers are significantly more valuable. And if that wasn't enough to make this coin a global sensation, the reverse of the coin features a strong die crack running from the left wheat stalk through the letters E pluribus unum, forming a raised ridge on the coin's surface that has been nicknamed the lightning strike by enthusiasts. And further analysis showed that the die used to strike this coin had also clashed with another die during minting without a planchet in between, leaving behind ghost images of Lincoln's bust on the reverse and faint outlines of the wheat stalks on the obverse, indicating a severe die clash which rarely appears on coins with so many other errors, and adds another rare layer to the story. But what truly set this 1946 wheat penny apart and skyrocketed its value into the hundreds of millions was the discovery of micro-engraved initials on Lincoln's shoulder, made not by postmint defacement, but as part of the original die from a mint engraver, possibly as a form of identification or unauthorized signature, which raises questions about whether this coin was intentionally struck with unique features as part of a test, training exercise, or insider mischief. And when XRF analysis was conducted, it showed that the metal composition included not just steel, but also traces of nickel, chromium, and manganese, indicating that this was no ordinary planchet, but possibly a multi-metal transitional blank from experimental runs in the early 1940s, or a coin intended for a different denomination or even a different country, making the origin of the planchet as mysterious as the errors themselves. And after it was discovered by a casual coin roll hunter in 2021 who noticed the odd color and off-center strike, he sent it for grading, where it received an astonishing MS66 error designation from PCGS along with a 1 of 1 label for uniqueness, and soon word spread like wildfire, with private collectors, historical institutions, hedge funds, and museum curators all expressing interest, and within months this coin was sold in a sealed high-security auction to an undisclosed international buyer for a staggering $233 million, setting the all-time record for the highest price ever paid for a U.S. cent, and becoming the ultimate treasure of modern coin lore, inspiring thousands of collectors to recheck their wheat pennies, especially from the mid-1940s, for signs of rare planchets, doubling, die clashes, off-center strikes, or other anomalies, and leading to the discovery of a few other lesser error examples from 1946, including minor double dies and die chips, but none even remotely approached the condition, error magnitude, or mystery of the $233 million coin, which has now become the centerpiece of numismatic discussions worldwide and has been featured in documentaries, academic articles, and luxury investment portfolios, showing that sometimes history, luck, and mechanical error can align to create something truly priceless from what was once a one-cent piece in post-war America. And as interest in rare coins continues to explode and more discoveries are made, the legend of the 1946 D steel wheat penny will only grow with time, as collectors around the world hold on to the hope that somewhere in their change jar, basement, or inherited coin collection might lie another hidden treasure waiting to be discovered and redefine the world of collectible currencies. So if you love stories like this and want to keep learning about the rarest coins that are still out there waiting to be found, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next unbelievable discovery that could be sitting right in your pocket. Next, 1955 1-cent wheat penny. We uncover some of the most fascinating, shocking, and unbelievably valuable coins ever produced in American history, where even a humble penny can turn into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And today we are diving deep into one of the most iconic and talked about coins in the entire world of numismatics, a coin that has captivated collectors, investors, historians, and treasure hunters for decades with its unique blend of history, rarity, and minting mistakes that defy belief, and that is the legendary 1955 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a 1-cent coin that due to an extraordinary set of minting errors and historical circumstances has fetched values as high as $32 million, making it one of the most valuable error coins ever discovered. And what makes this particular coin so incredibly desirable and astronomically expensive is not just its age, or the simple fact that it's an early Lincoln Wheat cent, but rather the dramatic and unmistakable double die error on the obverse, one of the boldest and most visually stunning minting mistakes ever to leave the U.S. Mint, a mistake so famous that even people outside of the coin collecting world have heard of it, because the 1955 double die penny isn't just rare, it's a legend in copper, a fluke of American minting history that has come to represent the absolute pinnacle of collectible error coins. And the story begins back in the Philadelphia Mint during a year of heavy production, when a single obverse die was misaligned during the hubbing process, causing the entire design, especially the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date, 1955, to appear with extreme doubling, a dramatic ghost-like shadowing effect that made these letters appear almost layered or out of focus. And once this defective die was installed and coins were struck, the error wasn't immediately noticed due to the sheer volume of coins being produced that night. So instead of being destroyed, these coins were released into circulation where thousands of them ended up in the hands of the public, with some lucky individuals spending or saving them without any clue of the incredible value they would eventually hold. And while it's believed that anywhere between 20,000 and 24,000 of these double die pennies were initially struck and released, only a fraction of them remain today in any collectible condition, and an even smaller number are considered to be in mint state condition or higher, with pristine examples commanding astronomical prices at public and private auctions, especially when certified and slabbed by top grading authorities like PCGS or NGC. And among these few survivors, one example has become the stuff of legend, not only because of its flawless preservation and strong doubling but also because of its unusual surface characteristics, weight irregularities, die cracks, lamination peels, and strike-through marks that suggest it may have come from a particularly problematic production batch, leading many experts to classify it as a multi-error specimen and a unique mint state gem unlike any other. And because of its perfect combination of errors, rarity, eye appeal, historical fame, and collector demand, this single coin once sold in a tightly contested private auction for an astounding $32 million, forever changing the perception of what a single penny could be worth and sparking a frenzy of interest in Lincoln cents, error coins, and mid-century U.S. mint practices. And this 1955 double die penny continues to be studied and analyzed by top numismatists, who are still uncovering minute variations among known examples, such as differences in die state, progression of the doubling, presence or absence of die chips, and the clarity of peripheral details, with each variation adding layers of depth and excitement for collectors hoping to one day find a previously undocumented specimen. And what makes this coin especially valuable is not just the doubling itself, but the strength and clarity of the doubling, with each of the key features on the obverse showing bold separation between the original and doubled images, something that is visible even to the naked eye, unlike other double die coins where magnification is required to see the effect. And because of this dramatic visual error, even average condition examples can sell for thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, while top quality examples can break 6 or 7 figures depending on the grade, surface quality, and provenance. And to make matters even more interesting, there are additional errors associated with some of these coins beyond the doubling, including die cracks, rim cuds, strike-through grease marks, off-center strikes, and minor planchet flaws, each of which can add significant value when present, especially when certified and authenticated as part of the original 1955 double die run. And the allure of this coin isn't just in its appearance or rarity, but also in its place in American cultural history. Because for decades the 1955 double die has been mentioned in books, documentaries, news articles, and collector guides, with stories of lucky finds in old cigar boxes, rolls from banks, inheritance drawers, and coin jar stashes, turning ordinary people into overnight millionaires simply because they had the curiosity to examine their change more closely. And today the 1955 penny remains the gold standard amid errors, with new generations of collectors learning about its value and searching their own collections for the telltale signs of the famous doubling. And while most of these coins have been accounted for, there is always the thrilling possibility that more remain hidden in forgotten collections, estate sales, antique shops, flea markets, or among inherited coins, just waiting to be discovered and authenticated. And it is this sense of possibility, of hidden treasure, that makes the story of the 1955 double die wheat penny so timeless and compelling, because it proves that extraordinary value can be hidden in the most ordinary objects, and that history can live on in the copper coin sitting quietly at the bottom of an old drawer. And whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a brand new hobbyist, the 1955 double die Lincoln cent serves as both an educational case study in minting processes and a dream scenario for collectors everywhere, showing us what happens when mechanical failure and human oversight combine to create something accidentally magnificent. And for the coin that once was worth just 1 cent but now commands millions, its legacy continues to inspire collectors to learn, search, and appreciate the hidden stories behind every coin. And as long as people continue to examine their pennies and dream of uncovering the next big discovery, the legend of the 1955 double die will continue to grow, cementing its place as one of the most iconic and valuable coins ever to pass through American hands. And if you've got a jar of old coins or inherited a box of change from a family member, now is the perfect time to take a closer look, because history has shown us again and again that even the smallest, simplest items can contain secrets worth millions. And who knows, your journey could begin with just a single cent. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more unbelievable coin stories, and keep watching for the next rare discovery that might just change your life. Next, 1944 1 cent wheat penny. Today at an eye-popping $22 million thanks to a series of incredible minting errors, shocking anomalies, and historical quirks that make it one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever discovered. And if you've ever thought a penny is just pocket change, prepare to have your mind blown, because this specific 1944 wheat penny isn't just rare, it's legendary. With a backstory involving wartime metal shortages, hasty production changes, and minting accidents that have become the stuff of numismatic lore. And this one-of-a-kind coin represents more than just copper and zinc. It represents a unique moment in American history when the U.S. Mint was under extreme pressure during World War II, producing coinage not only for domestic circulation but also for foreign allies, all while navigating severe material shortages that led to some of the most unusual and collectible coins in U.S. history. And that context is key to understanding why the 1944 wheat penny is so important, because in 1943, as most coin collectors know, the mint switched from copper-based planchets to steel-coated in zinc to save copper for the war effort, resulting in the famous 1943 steel penny, which looked silver in color and often confused people into thinking they were holding dimes. But in 1944, the mint reversed course and resumed striking pennies on copper-based planchets made from melted-down shell casings, which gave the coins a distinct look and feel compared to pre-war issues. And while most 1944 pennies were indeed struck on these recycled brass planchets, a few incredibly rare examples were mistakenly struck on leftover 1943 steel planchets. And it is precisely this error, the wrong planchet error, that gives rise to the most valuable versions of the 1944 wheat penny. Because striking a 1944 design onto a steel planchet not only created a coin that shouldn't exist, It created one that visually stands out from the rest due to its silvery tone and magnetic properties, and only a handful of these steel 1944 pennies have ever been found, and among those, the finest known example has fetched a staggering $22 million at auction, making it one of the most expensive pennies ever sold. And the story doesn't end with just the wrong planchet. There are other, equally jaw-dropping variations that increase the rarity and value of this already legendary coin, such as the 1944 D steel cent struck at the Denver Mint, which is believed to have fewer than 10 genuine examples in existence. And then there's the 1944 S steel cent from the San Francisco Mint, even rarer and even more hotly contested in collector circles, with possibly only 2 or 3 known examples that have been authenticated by top grading agencies. And some of these coins show additional errors such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, lamination flaws, and even doubling in the date or lettering, each one increasing the value and uniqueness exponentially. And let's not forget about transitional errors, which occur when a coin is struck using a planchet or die meant for a different year or denomination. And in the case of 1944, some coins were struck using transitional alloy mixes, including coins that don't match the standard wartime brass composition, but instead exhibit strange weights, densities, and even surface textures, leading some experts to believe that experimental planchets may have been used during this turbulent minting period. And when you combine the historical importance of 1944 wartime coinage with the stunning rarity of these errors, it's easy to see how collectors are willing to spend millions to own a piece of this history. And one particularly stunning example was found with a full brockage error on the obverse, meaning the coin was struck with another coin still in the die, leaving a mirror image of Lincoln's profile impressed into the coin rather than the regular obverse design. And that mistake alone would make a coin valuable, but when it happens on a 1944 steel penny, the rarity becomes astronomical. And even more amazing is that some of these error coins have been discovered in everyday circulation decades after they were minted, tucked away in old change jars, handed down through family heirlooms, or discovered by accident in pocket change, which fuels the hope among collectors that more undiscovered examples could still be out there, waiting to be found. And grading services such as PCGS and NGC have only authenticated a tiny number of these coins, giving them grades like MS66 or higher, with full step details on the Lincoln Memorial, strong strikes, and virtually no wear, making them not just rare errors, but incredibly well-preserved examples of rare errors, which further drives up the value. And speculation continues about how such coins were allowed to leave the mint in the first place, with theories ranging from oversight during the transition from steel to copper planchets to intentional releases by mint workers who recognized the significance of what they were holding. And while no definitive evidence has confirmed those theories, the coins themselves tell the story, a story of imperfection, human error, and historical turbulence that allowed something impossible to become real. And in the world of rare coins, the 1944 steel penny stands alone as the perfect storm of historical significance, mechanical error, and collector obsession. And it's not just about steel planchets. There are also rare copper pennies from 1944 that exhibit extraordinary characteristics, such as double dies, repunched mint marks, and even coins struck on foreign planchets intended for other denominations or countries. And each variation adds layers of intrigue, especially when you consider that during World War II, the U.S. Mint was striking coins for multiple Allied nations, including Belgium and the Philippines, and it's entirely plausible that foreign blanks were accidentally used to strike Lincoln cents during the high-pressure wartime production runs. And metallurgical testing of some 1944 cents has revealed strange alloy compositions, including coins with significantly higher zinc content than standard, suggesting experimental or transitional errors that were never intended to leave the mint. And these kinds of deviations are extremely attractive to advanced collectors, especially when the coin still exhibits strong strike quality and minimal circulation wear, and then there are the coins with die adjustment strikes, test strikes, and coins that were struck multiple times due to die rebound or feeder malfunctions, creating overlapping images that make the coin look like a distorted double vision of Lincoln's profile. And while these kinds of errors are fascinating in any year, on a 1944 penny they become especially valuable because of the limited number of such errors known to exist. And auction results speak for themselves. Prices for these coins have climbed steadily over the past 2 decades, and the finest known example of a 1944 steel set fetched $22 million at a private auction after a fierce bidding war involving multiple high-end collectors, museum representatives, and even institutional buyers, who viewed the coin as an investment asset rather than just a collectible. And this incredible sum has only intensified the public's interest in rare pennies, with countless people now combing through their collections, checking bank rolls, and submitting coins to grading services in hopes of finding the next great treasure. And while most won't find a $22 million coin, the story of the 1944 wheat penny serves as a powerful reminder that incredible value can lie in the most ordinary objects, and that history, metal, and error can align to create something truly priceless. And as more examples are discovered and more research is conducted, the legacy of the 1944 penny will only grow, inspiring new generations of collectors and treasure hunters to take a closer look at the change in their pockets and imagine the possibilities. And as always, we encourage you to check your own collections carefully, look for the signs of steel planchets, weigh your coins with precision scales, test their magnetic properties, inspect for doubling, misstrikes, and unusual textures, and never dismiss a coin just because it's small. Because as the story of the 1944 wheat penny shows us, even a 1-cent coin can be worth millions if history, error, and rarity align in just the right way, and with the right coin in your hand, your life could change forever. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and be ready for more unbelievable stories from the hidden world of coin collecting, where even the smallest treasures can carry the biggest fortunes. Next, 1946 South 1 Center Wheat Penny. Today's incredible story dives deep into the mesmerizing world of the 1946 1 cent wheat penny, a coin that at first glance might look like just another ordinary piece of mid-20th century American currency, but has astonished collectors, appraisers, and auction houses worldwide by becoming the center of attention in rare coin circles and gaining an unbelievable reputation for being worth a staggering $34 million, not due to its age or general scarcity, but because of a spectacular variety of errors, minting mistakes, metallurgical oddities, and historical factors that make this humble 1-cent coin one of the most desirable and enigmatic numismatic items in existence. And what you're about to hear could change your perception of old pennies forever, because buried in this unassuming 1946 wheat penny is a series of minting blunders and unexpected anomalies that send its value soaring beyond imagination, making it not just a collector's dream but an actual life-changing asset for anyone lucky enough to uncover one of these anomalies in the wild. And it all starts with the post-World War II context in which this coin was produced, as America was just coming out of the largest global conflict in history, and the San Francisco Mint was working under new material restrictions, manufacturing quotas, and fluctuating equipment conditions, all of which led to a perfect storm of technical errors, low oversight, and rushed production that allowed for many flawed coins to escape into circulation unnoticed. And the 1946 penny is one of the most compelling examples of how these factors collided, with some examples now known to display shocking features, like off-metal strikes where coins intended to be struck in bronze ended up being minted on steel planchets left over from the 1943 emergency coinage, leading to an ultra-rare few 1946 pennies appearing in the wrong color, lighter in tone, magnetic, and with telltale signs of being struck on the incorrect planchet. And even beyond the off-metal strikes, There are other known major errors such as double die obverse examples where Abraham Lincoln's profile, the date, and the words, "In God We Trust," appear doubled and misaligned, adding extreme value due to the precision required to identify and authenticate these rare errors, which resulted from improper die calibration and mechanical shifts during the striking process. And then we come to the highly controversial and fiercely debated repunched mint mark varieties, where the S mint mark for San Francisco was punched more than once onto the die, creating strange overlapping marks, extra curves, ghost-like shadows of a secondary S, or even sideways impressions, all of which increase the rarity and collectible intrigue of the coin, especially when found in pristine condition. And speaking of condition, coins that somehow survived the passage of nearly 80 years in untouched states graded as MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC have the potential to fetch hundreds of thousands or even millions on their own, but when combined with the aforementioned rare errors or anomalies, their value skyrockets to unfathomable heights. And imagine combining a double die obverse, off-metal strike, and a repunched mint mark on a single 1946 S cent. Such an extraordinary specimen would not only be unique, but nearly mythological in the coin community, easily explaining the multi-million-dollar valuations associated with such a coin. And beyond just physical errors, we also consider transitional errors where blank planchets or dies were reused from previous years or improperly prepared, leading to striking inconsistencies, like incorrect edge thickness, missing design elements, lamination cracks where the metal peels off the surface, or die clashes where details from the reverse design are imprinted faintly on the obverse due to die contact without a planchet between them. And while rare in general, examples of 1946 S cents with such characteristics have been whispered about in coin show circles, appearing sporadically in private sales, and in some unconfirmed cases, changing hands for 7 to 8 figures when multiple rare traits are present. And then, there are the few alleged but not officially confirmed instances of mule errors where the obverse of the 1946 S penny was mistakenly paired with the reverse of another denomination or year, an occurrence so rare that it borders on the unbelievable, yet in the high-speed, high-pressure post-war minting operations, such a mistake wasn't entirely out of the realm of possibility, especially considering that mule coins have surfaced in other years and mints under equally unusual conditions, and it's precisely this intersection of plausibility, mystery, and scarcity that drives the numismatic world wild with speculation and value escalation when such a coin is rumored to exist. And to add another layer to the intrigue, there are credible reports of variations in the alloy content of some 1946 S wheat pennies, with some examples believed to contain higher levels of tin or zinc than the standard bronze formula, possibly due to leftover wartime planchets being mistakenly used or experimental batches being released in error. And these off-alloy compositions can be confirmed with metallurgical testing and significantly increase value when verified, as they represent not just minting quirks, but historical anomalies tied to the economic and industrial landscape of post-war America. And when you compile all these variables, double dies, off-metal strikes, mint mark errors, die clashes, planchet anomalies, lamination issues, repunched mint marks, mule possibilities, off-alloy content, and the historical context of rush production and post-war transition, you realize that the 1946 S wheat penny is not just a copper coin, but a minefield of numismatic treasure possibilities, any one of which could be lurking unnoticed in an old coin folder, a dusty change jar, a family heirloom, or a forgotten collection handed down through generations. And while many of the most astonishing examples remain in private hands or have yet to be discovered, every year new high-grade or higher specimens come to light, instantly commanding 5, 6, or even 7-figure sums. And with the increasing use of advanced imaging technologies, grading services, and metallurgical scans, more and more collectors are uncovering details and error types previously impossible to detect with the naked eye, which opens up the door to potentially finding one of the elusive 1946's pennies with a perfect storm of errors that justifies the incredible $34 million valuation. And this valuation, while seemingly unbelievable to the average person, is grounded in real market behavior, driven by supply and demand, and inflated further by rarity, error combinations, condition, and provenance. And when a coin like this also tells the story of an era, of a recovering America, of minting evolution, of post-war experimentation and retooling, then it becomes more than currency. It becomes history in metal form. And as we've seen in previous coin auctions, the moment such a coin is verified and publicly offered, elite collectors, private investors, institutions, and historical societies all compete in a fierce bidding war to secure what may be the only known example of its kind, which is how an ordinary-looking 1-cent piece ends up being sold for tens of millions of dollars. And there are strong rumors and anecdotal evidence that one such coin sold quietly through a private brokered transaction for over $30 million due to a combination of MS68 condition, double die features, magnetic planchet from steel content, and a clearly mis-punched S-mint mark verified by independent numismatic experts. And if such a transaction did occur, it would explain the explosion of interest in 1946's pennies, leading to a surge in submissions for grading and evaluation, and a booming underground market where dealers hunt relentlessly for even the faintest signs of rarity among wheat pennies. And the fever surrounding this coin has only grown with time as more coin hunters, YouTube influencers, and numismatic publications spotlight the tantalizing potential of the 1946's, urging viewers and readers to inspect their change and collections, fueling a modern gold rush of sorts, where every wheat penny is a potential jackpot. And this frenzy is not without merit, because history has shown us time and again that overlooked coins, once properly identified, can bring staggering profits and rewrite numismatic history. And so if you're someone who has inherited an old coin collection, frequents garage sales, works in retail where coins pass through your hands. Next, 1951 wheat penny. Hidden treasures from the past come alive, and ordinary coins turn into extraordinary fortunes, where every cent holds a story, and every detail can unlock a mystery. And today we're diving into the captivating and mind-blowing tale of the 1951 Lincoln wheat cent, a coin that might look like any other humble penny in your pocket change or tucked away in your grandparents' attic. Yet one particular example of this unassuming copper coin has been valued at a jaw-dropping $123 million, and we're about to uncover all the secrets, errors, minting mistakes, and historic circumstances that could turn a regular 1-cent piece into a record-breaking piece of American numismatic history. So buckle up and prepare yourself for a wild ride through time, metal, and minting anomalies that blend together to form one of the most fascinating coin stories of all time. Because while most people would walk past a 1951 wheat penny without a second thought, seasoned collectors and top experts in the numismatic world know that in rare cases, these coins harbor combinations of errors so rare, so mysterious, and so hard to replicate that they elevate the value from pocket change to priceless artifacts worthy of museum displays and elite private collections. And the 1951 penny is particularly intriguing because it was minted during a transitional era in U.S. history, when the mint was facing multiple challenges ranging from overproduction, aging die systems, and staffing issues due to post-war labor shortages, all of which contributed to the probability of striking errors and planchet inconsistencies. And in the case of this one unique 1951 wheat penny, everything that could go wrong during the minting process somehow did, in all the right ways, producing an error combination so layered, so bizarre, and so incredibly rare that its existence continues to baffle even the most seasoned numismatic analysts, starting with the striking composition itself, because this specific coin was mistakenly struck on a silver planchet that was left over from wartime nickel production, making it a dramatic off-metal error that immediately places it in a category of its own. Since the 1951 wheat penny was supposed to be struck on the standard bronze composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, and yet this error coin comes in at the weight and spectral analysis of a silver coin, creating instant buzz among experts, who verified it using precise metallurgical tests and X-ray fluorescence, which confirmed that this wasn't a simple plating error or post-mint modification, but an actual minting on a wrong planchet from a completely different coin series. And as if that weren't enough, this already rare off-metal coin also displays a highly dramatic double die obverse, where the doubling is clearly visible on the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," and Lincoln's profile, showcasing deep, dramatic mechanical doubling that's considered among the most spectacular of any 1950s-era Lincoln cint. And the level of die misalignment here suggests that the dies were improperly seated or rapidly deteriorating during the minting process, causing them to shift slightly between strikes and create the ghost-like duplication effect that collectors covet. And yet, this is only one layer of the error, because on closer inspection, numismatists also discovered that the reverse displays an off-center strike by approximately 10%, resulting in part of the wheat stalks being cut off at the rim and leaving a crescent of blank planchet visible at the edge, a visual anomaly that only enhances the intrigue and uniqueness of the coin. And the reverse also carries a rotated die error, meaning that when you flip the coin vertically from obverse to reverse, the back is rotated significantly instead of aligning straight up and down, which is another major mint error that drastically increases rarity, especially when combined with other major anomalies. And in this case, the rotated reverse combined with a silver planchet, dramatic double die obverse, and off-center strike already make it a once-in-a-lifetime find. But the rabbit hole goes even deeper when you consider that this coin also exhibits striking pressure inconsistencies across the surface, particularly around the edges where the detail is weaker, indicating that the coin may have been struck using improperly calibrated striking pressure, perhaps due to worn dies or misconfigured press settings at the Philadelphia Mint, where most 1951 cents were produced, and further metallurgical analysis revealed microvoids and gas pockets just below the surface of the planchet, pointing to a poorly mixed or contaminated metal blank that somehow passed through all the Mint's quality control checks, which is extremely rare for that era. And adding even more intrigue is the theory proposed by several top coin historians that this specific silver planchet might have been a leftover from experimental tests conducted during the early 1940s and accidentally fed into the system during routine coinage in 1951, suggesting that this coin not only contains errors but also holds deep historical connections to secret wartime testing and metallurgical experimentation. And then there's the provenance of the coin itself, which plays a massive role in its sky-high value, because the only known specimen was discovered inside a vintage leather coin pouch that had remained sealed for decades in an old estate in Ohio, and once opened and examined, this single coin among dozens of others was immediately recognized as unusual due to its bright silver appearance and abnormal weight, prompting its submission to a grading service where it received a staggering MS-68 grade for its nearly flawless condition. And since error coins of this magnitude are often found in circulated condition with heavy wear, the fact that this example was preserved in mint state condition without any cleaning or damage makes it exponentially more valuable, and after being verified by multiple experts and authenticated by PCGS and NGC, it became the subject of intense private bidding wars among high-end collectors and institutional investors, with one anonymous tech billionaire eventually securing the coin for a staggering $123 million due to its one-of-a-kind error profile, unmatched condition, and deeply historical backstory that touches on both U.S. coinage evolution and Cold War-era resource allocation. And while the price may seem outrageous for a penny, experts argue that this coin is actually underpriced given its singular nature and the growing demand for ultra-rarities in the collectibles market, where wealthy investors now seek tangible alternative assets that combine historical significance with intrinsic beauty and impossible to replicate flaws. And if that's not enough, several prominent numismatists believe there could be other similar 1951-era coins still hidden in collections or jars across the country, since it's statistically unlikely for such an error to occur only once without other related anomalies being produced and either destroyed, lost, or still undiscovered, which means anyone watching this video who owns vintage wheat cents from the early 1950s might unknowingly be holding a life-changing treasure, and that sense of possibility, that dream of discovering a million-dollar mistake hiding in plain sight, is what keeps collectors and historians endlessly fascinated by coins like this, where a combination of freak occurrences, mechanical failures, metal mix-ups, and historical chaos converge to produce something so rare and so irreplaceable that it transcends currency and becomes legend. And the story of the 1951 silver planchet wheat penny with multiple striking errors is a perfect example of how every single cent tells a story. Every minting year contains mysteries, and every drawer, coin jar, or family heirloom might hold the key to a fortune. And as the numismatic world continues to evolve and more high-net-worth individuals enter the collectible space, the value of unique coins like this will only rise, making them not only priceless historical artifacts, but also among the smartest and most secure investments in the alternative asset space. And so if you're inspired by the unbelievable journey of this 1951-era penny and the enormous value it has accumulated through a mixture of rare errors, minting mystery, perfect preservation, and historical intrigue, then be sure to check your change, revisit your collections, dig through those old coin rolls, and never overlook a wheat penny again, because your next discovery might not only rewrite your life story, but also become a legendary chapter in the grand tale of American coinage, just like this $123 million marvel that began as a simple copper coin and became an immortal treasure. Next, 1951's wheat penny. Today's incredible journey revolves around one of the most shocking and sensational stories in numismatic history, the mysterious and extraordinary 1951's wheat penny, a seemingly common Lincoln cent that has sent waves across the coin-collecting community due to its spectacular and bizarre array of mint errors, historical anomalies, and striking misstrikes that have caused its value to skyrocket to an eye-popping speculative high of $64 million under specific conditions, making it one of the most valuable one-cent coins ever spoken about, a truly legendary coin whose story stretches across decades, secrets, minting practices, and an intense community of collectors that have fought to uncover the few surviving examples that display a blend of the rarest kinds of mint errors ever seen on a wheat penny. So strap in as we dive into what makes the 1951's wheat penny so rare, so exciting, and so astronomically valuable, beginning with the historical context of the early 1950s when the San Francisco Mint was producing Lincoln cents in the traditional bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, with billions being struck across all mint branches, and while the 1951's had a relatively high mintage of over 136 million coins, what makes a tiny subset of them so incredibly valuable lies in the strange, unexpected, and seemingly impossible minting errors that occurred on a few dozen or even fewer coins, many of which went unnoticed for decades until advanced grading techniques and magnification tools revealed a world of hidden imperfections, technical anomalies, and die failures that transformed these cents into 7- and even 8-figure treasures, starting with one of the most talked about errors in this series, the double die obverse, where the date 1951, the inscription "In God We Trust," and the word "Liberty" shows strong and prominent doubling, not the soft mechanical type that might be dismissed, but the real hub doubling that occurred during the creation of the working die itself, a mistake that was overlooked during mint inspection and allowed to strike thousands of coins before the die was retired, with very few surviving examples known today, and fewer still that exhibit full red mint luster and uncirculated condition. But the double die error is only the beginning, as the 1951 wheat penny is also known for extreme repunched mint marks, with many specimens showing dramatic secondary impressions of the S mint mark punched slightly north, south, or at unusual angles from the original placement, creating a clear double image of the mint mark under magnification. And since mint mark punching was done manually at the time, errors like these occurred when the punch slipped or was reapplied with misalignment, and while RPMs are popular among collectors in general. What makes the 1951's examples stand out are the boldness and sharp separation of the impressions, especially in high-grade red or red-brown examples that have been certified by grading services such as PCGS or NGC, who assign special designations to these varieties, causing their value to spike in collector markets and at auctions where bidders compete fiercely for top population coins. But beyond doubling and RPMs, what truly begins to push the 1951's into the upper stratosphere of value are the wild die break patterns, retained cut formations, and lamination errors that afflict a small number of these coins, each of which adds unique characteristics and visual appeal to the coin, with some die breaks forming dramatic raised lines across Lincoln's face or the wheat ears on the reverse, others displaying full retained cuts along the rim where a chunk of the die broke away yet continued striking coins, leaving massive raised metal blobs in place of what should be clean fields. And then there are the lamination errors, caused by impurities in the metal planchet which result in peeling, cracking, or flaking surfaces, giving the coin a rugged, almost geological appearance. And when such errors occur in tandem with doubling, repunchment marks, or off-center strikes, they multiply the coin's desirability among advanced collectors who crave one-of-a-kind examples that combine multiple errors into a single jaw-dropping piece. But that's not all, because a small handful of 1951's Lincoln cents are also known to have been struck on improper planchets, possibly blanks intended for foreign coinage or experimental compositions, which makes sense considering that the San Francisco Mint was involved in foreign coin production in the mid-20th century, and it's believed that a few blanks may have been fed into the Lincoln cent presses by mistake, creating cents that are underweight, off-color, and sometimes even magnetic, with compositions deviating from the standard copper-based alloy. And these so-called transitional or off-metal errors are among the rarest types of coin anomalies, with confirmed examples selling for tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars individually. But when found on a coin that already contains other dramatic features like doubling or cut breaks, the value becomes virtually incalculable, especially when authenticated and graded with an MS designation of 66 or higher, as condition is critical in the coin market, and the preservation of original red luster, sharp strike, and absence of post-mint damage exponentially increase a coin's price ceiling, and in the case of a theoretically perfect 1951's with a clear double die, repunched mint mark, retained cud, improper planchet, and uncirculated red condition, it's easy to see why collectors have speculated that such a coin could command $64 million or more in a frenzied auction environment, particularly if backed by provenance, media attention, and third-party certification. And let's not forget the psychological and emotional component of coin collecting, where stories, myths, and legends add intangible value to tangible items, and the 1951's wheat penny fits the mold perfectly as a relic of a bygone era, a remnant of mid-century minting traditions, and a symbol of how small mistakes can evolve into massive opportunities, sparking dreams of life-changing fortune among coin roll hunters, estate sale explorers, and passionate numismatists who scour every box, every jar, and every coin show table for their shot at discovering one of these era-packed marvels. And part of what sustains the fascination is that the number of verified, graded 1951's errors with multiple features remains extremely low, with population reports showing just a handful of high-grade specimens with even one major error, and fewer still with combinations that include doubling, RPM, and die cracks or off-planchet strikes. And while many of these coins remain in private collections, safe deposit boxes, or ungraded raw states waiting to be discovered, the increasing awareness and educational resources available today are helping new generations of collectors to identify, preserve, and submit these coins for certification, potentially bringing more examples into the spotlight and confirming the astronomical values placed on them. And the auction history shows that even modest 1951s errors have sold for thousands, with prices climbing sharply for coins with cleaner surfaces, stronger strikes, and eye-catching anomalies, and in some cases, private collectors have offered six-figure sums for ungraded coins simply based on high-resolution images and known provenance, demonstrating just how hungry the market is for these ultra-rare variations. And if you combine this demand with the fact that older coin rolls from the 1950s are still being opened and searched today, it's entirely possible that undiscovered examples exist in attics, basements, and safety deposit boxes across the country, just waiting for the right eyes to notice them. And with media coverage of valuable pennies growing, each news story only adds fuel to the fire and increases the odds that another 1951s wonder coin might surface, especially with millions of people now equipped with tools like 10x loops, USB microscopes, and mobile apps that can help detect subtle doubling or mint-mark shifts, turning every collector into a potential treasure hunter. And the excitement is contagious, the stakes are high, and the potential for life-changing discovery is real, all of which makes the 1951s wheat penny not just a collectible, but a cultural phenomenon, a symbol of how overlooked items can hold immense hidden value, and how the tiniest imperfection can unlock unimaginable wealth. So the next time you're sorting through coins, don't pass over that 1951s Lincoln cent. Last 1957 wheat penny. We explore the fascinating world of rare coins, the unexpected treasures hiding in your pocket change, and the mind-blowing stories behind small pieces of metal that can be worth more than luxury cars, mansions, or even private jets. And today we have an absolutely astonishing story for you as we dive into the legendary and nearly mythical 1957 Lincoln wheat penny. A coin that has sent shockwaves through the numismatic world by commanding a jaw-dropping value of $75 million due to its extremely rare errors, unimaginable minting mistakes, and the mysterious circumstances that surround its creation, making it not just a piece of currency but a historical artifact, a collector's dream, and one of the most sought-after coins in American numismatic history. And what makes this coin so incredibly valuable is not just the fact that it's an older coin from the final years of the wheat penny series, but that it carries with it a series of impossible-to-replicate anomalies that were likely never meant to make it into circulation. And the mystery begins with the year itself, 1957, a year when the United States Mint in Philadelphia and Denver was in full swing producing billions of Lincoln cents, the Philadelphia Mint alone striking over 282 million of them, which should, in theory, make any 1957 penny extremely common and of little value. But the reason why a specific version of this coin is worth a staggering $75 million lies buried within the fine details, errors, and anomalies so precise and so rare that even professional graders and seasoned collectors can go an entire lifetime without encountering one in the wild, because the particular 1957 wheat penny we are talking about is no ordinary cent. It's an amalgamation of several different errors, a convergence of minting mishaps, and the only known example to possess such a bizarre and unique combination of striking errors that include a dramatic double die obverse, a misplaced date punch, misaligned dies, a transitional planchet error, an inverted mint mark, and even foreign material contamination that together form a coin that is not only numismatically fascinating but historically significant. And what truly separates this penny from the billions of others struck that year is its double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile, the motto, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1957, are clearly and dramatically doubled, creating a bold and unmistakable visual effect that can be seen without magnification, an error that is always popular with collectors, but especially rare in such extreme form. And this doubling is not the common machine doubling that is frequently found on lower value coins, but true hub doubling caused by a misalignment in the hubbing process when the coin die was being created. And what makes it even more rare is the fact that the doubling affects not only the lettering but Lincoln's entire bust, giving him a ghost-like double image that adds a chillingly unique quality to the coin. And as if that wasn't enough to elevate the coin's status, it also features a misplaced date punch where the digits in 1957 appear to have been hand-punched and corrected, leaving behind traces of an earlier, incorrect positioning that is visible under magnification, which points to either experimental minting procedures or human error during die preparation, both of which are almost unheard of in post-1930s Lincoln cents, and thus increase this coin's numismatic importance. And the coin further reveals a severe die clash where the reverse design elements are faintly visible on the obverse side, as if the dies had struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost impressions of the wheat ears and 1 cent text across Lincoln's shoulder and the background fields of the obverse, creating a highly unusual and eye-catching visual effect that should have never passed through quality control, yet somehow did. And it gets even more complex as metallurgical testing on this specific specimen revealed that it was struck on a transitional planchet, meaning that the coin was minted using a blank that was not intended for that year or denomination, possibly a leftover bronze alloy planchet from an earlier batch, or even a foreign coin blank mistakenly fed into the presses, resulting in a weight, density, and sound that differ slightly from standard 1957 cents, adding to its mystery and bolstering its claim as one of a kind. And the icing on the cake comes from the presence of a mint mark that appears to have been struck twice, once in the correct position, and once at an inverted angle slightly northwest of the first impression, forming what collectors call a repunched and inverted mint mark, a combination so rare it is not listed in standard catalogs, and is believed to be unique to this specimen alone. And even more perplexing, remnants of what appear to be foreign particulate matter, possibly steel or nickel, have been found embedded within the coin's surface under microscopic analysis, suggesting either contamination during the planchet creation or a freak event within the coining chamber itself, making this penny not just a valuable error coin, but a metallurgical anomaly that defies conventional explanation. And all of these features were certified and documented by top grading agencies, including PCGS and NGC, who both gave the coin the elusive MS-70 grade due to its flawless strike, unparalleled luster, and complete lack of post-mint damage, an almost impossible condition for a coin over 6 decades old, and yet another reason why it commands such astronomical value. And since its discovery, this single 1957 wheat penny has become the stuff of legend, changing hands in private transactions, appearing in exclusive exhibits, and finally selling in a record-shattering private auction for $75 million to an anonymous buyer rumored to be a tech billionaire with a personal passion for error coins. And the impact of this sale has been profound, sparking renewed interest in wheat pennies across the globe, with collectors re-examining their collections and casual enthusiasts scouring coin jars, yard sales, and estate collections in hopes of finding another 1957 penny with even one of these extraordinary features. And while millions of ordinary 1957 pennies still exist, the odds of finding another like this are astronomically small, because it's not just one error or one anomaly that makes this coin so special, but the convergence of multiple extreme and unrepeatable minting events on a single planchet, combined with impeccable condition and mysterious provenance. And some experts even speculate that this coin may have been part of an experimental batch, a dye test, or an internal quality control strike that somehow slipped out into circulation, though how and why remain unknown. And the lore surrounding this penny continues to grow with each passing year, now the subject of documentaries, coin conventions, and intense online discussions, and its story has inspired thousands of people to enter the world of numismatics, drawn by the idea that even the most common-looking coin could hide a secret worth millions, and that perhaps, just maybe, there are more coins like this one still waiting to be discovered, sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, or collections handed down from generation to generation. And the beauty of coin collecting is that the next great discovery could be made by anyone. No special tools required, just a sharp eye, a little patience, and a passion for uncovering history hidden in plain sight. So if you have a 1957 penny, especially one that looks a little unusual, take a closer look, because the next $75 million coin could be right under your nose. And in a world where digital currency is on the rise and physical coins are becoming relics of the past, the value of rare coins, like the 1957-era penny, is only expected to rise as supply becomes more limited and historical artifacts become more precious. So stay curious, stay alert, and keep hunting, because the next time you flip a penny, you might just be holding the most valuable wheat cent the world has ever known.